I'm a pastor, an artist, an author, a scholar, and a conversation. Welcome to Chastfest with Kenneth. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Chatfest with Kenneth. And today's guest is Duane Moody. He is an opera aficionado. That's how I think of him. So, without further ado, here's introducing my next guest. And here's welcoming Mr. Duane Moody.
Hello, how are you today, sir? How are you, Minister Tamara?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Fine. I could not complain. I have no real complaints. I'm still alive in the land of the living and still able to speak, sing, walk, and dance. I'm good.
Okay, you know what that means? What you just said means you can complain, but you choose not to.
Oh, I always complain. Don't get me started. There's always something to complain about, but I don't allow myself to wallow in that like most humans. You know.
Okay. So,
Complain, trust me on that one.
I know. So for people who don't know you, how would you describe or introduce yourself? Who are you?
Who am I? Well, I am a son of a sharecropper, as well as a son of a homemaker. That sharecropper ended up moving to Washington, D.C. and becoming an employee of UPS, thanks to the Great Migration and the Great Civil Rights Act of 1964. But I'm a Black American male, born and raised here in America, a descendant of American chattel slavery and the institution of slavery here in America through the transatlantic slave trade. I was very fortunate to have been picked and chosen in this system, because unfortunately, as many people know or may not know, Black America has been deemed a less class or the untouchables in American society. And they handpick a few of us that they feel can, handle ourselves around white America or whiteness. And I was very fortunate to have gained a lot of access in my life, even though I grew up in the hood. And a lot of that was based upon my mother, who was the fourth highest elected political official here in Washington, D.C. So because of that access that I had as a Black American male, I was granted a lot of access, a lot of opportunity that many Black Americans are not privy to simply because of who they are and their lineage, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, of me being picked and being chosen, I was able to obtain 3 degrees from 2 of the most prominent universities in the country, if not the world. It garnered me a 25 plus year international singing career. And I'm now a professor at one of the top schools in the world, Berkeley College of Music. And all of that was not necessarily just from my hard work, but it was from the system allowing my hard work to be able to, progress and process or whatever, unlike many in our country, in Black America.
You have said such a mouthful that I am so tempted to just sit and run with it. But I'm trying to cover a lot of stuff. It's like my brain is like, whoa.
I know, that's what I do. I get people to think when they speak with me, I don't like cookie cutter answers. I hate robot journalists. I need organic, I'm fine. I don't want my feelings. I'm not one of those people or whatever. I don't hold my emotions on my shoulder anymore. I may hold a lot of stuff in, but as far as my emotions, I don't hold on to emotions. I'm not an emotional person or what have you. So I don't get offended.
So before I run that rabbit hole, I'm gonna ask you about I see your image behind you, and I see the thing for holding music book sheets. What's going on? Are you doing? What are you working on?
Oh, I'm working on different operatic pieces. I had a vocal coaching this morning actually with Mark Markham of Baltimore, Maryland, and we were working on the opera Pagliacci.
Okay, so how did an African American young man get
Mhm.
into opera music?
Well, as a Black American young man, I got into opera music because of again, I was informed that I could sing. I didn't know what was going on. I just was just singing and carrying on, just having a good old time. And they said, my music teachers, from elementary school all through high school, pushed me to go into this music thing. And so I started doing voice lessons at about
Okay.
13. I only went into voice lessons because I just wanted to learn the proper way of singing.
Okay.
But in learning the proper way of singing, as far as breath control, you have to go back to the basics. And one way of learning that is to, again, the old school way of going into the more Western European style of classical singing or what have you, and then expounding on that. Fortunately, in my tutelage and in my career, I've learned that you do not have to necessarily study classical music to learn how to breathe well and sing well.
Okay.
Although I instill that into all of my students anyway, because I am all about foundation, and the foundation of singing is about breath, discipline, and control. And a lot of that happens again in the more European Western style discipline of singing or what have you. And then, of course, you expand. But as I was doing my voice lessons or what have you, being that I had to sing classical music, I just fell in love with the music. And I'm gonna be very honest with you, I was groomed to be more into the European style of music because again, in the world in America, the world of opera is an escape for Black Americans from their Blackness. I'm being real, okay? And those of us that get chosen to be in this particular arena, for many of us, not all of us, but mainly the big stars or what have you in the operatic world, I hate to say this, but many of them do it to escape their Blackness. And I'm reminded of a big opera star, Black opera star, and someone asked this particular person, what is it like to be a Black opera singer? Because as you know, being Black in America or Black in any part of the country, really, opera isn't part of our culture. It is a part of
Yes.
our lineage. That ain't us. And we had to learn that. And so I reminded this person, they said, oh God, I forgot my train of thought. I hate that because I was telling you about someone telling me a story and I forgot the
A
story that
black
quick.
opera star that was being asked.
He was being interviewed by some magazine or whatever. So they asked her, what do you think? What is it like being a Black opera singer? And you can tell that this person got offended by it. Well, I just want to be a singer. I just want to make beautiful music. I just want to be an opera singer. And again, that is a clear indication that someone is trying to escape who they are to be a part of something else. And all she had to do was say, well, being Black and growing up a Black in America, no, I wasn't surrounded by European music or what have you. But like my story, I grew up with Philly soul records, gospel music. That was my background, Motown or what have you. And so when I got into voice lessons and was introduced to that music, I just happened to fell in love with it. It had nothing to do with me running away from myself, running away from my Blackness. But again, once I got into the business, I met too many singers of my lineage who were basically trying to escape. There was an article in New York Times not too long ago about opera singers, Black opera singers, and dealing with racism. And what I discovered was that many of the ones that were interviewed admitted to dealing with racism and racist remarks just to get paid.
Wow.
So if you're willing to deal with racism because you have to feed your family, imagine what you would really do when you're in survival mode.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And so when I hear people, especially Black people, who say that they'll tolerate racism or they've tolerated this or what have you just to get a check, for me, that's just weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not
Mm-hmm.
really solving or delving into the issue when you allow these kinds of macroaggressions to fester and keep on going. And but see, this is again, the system knows who to pick. I hate to say this all
Okay,
the
so I have a
time.
question. So I have a
Yeah.
question for you. Um, in your identity of self
Yeah.
and in your identity of this new music, well, I say new,
Mhm.
but this music that you're into, is there a conflict? Is there a marriage?
Well, in marriage, there's always conflict because again, it's never 100. It's always 40, 60, 60, 40, 30, 70. So it's always conflict in marriage or whatever. But I understand what you're saying. For me, it was never conflict. Because again, fortunately for me, I stayed true to who I am as a Black man. It only becomes a conflict, in my opinion, when you choose to negate history. We
Okay.
have, again, Black opera singers who want to say, well, I just want to get rid of the N-word altogether. We should obliterate the N-word. No one should say the word at all. Nigger, see my language. But we need to get rid of that word. When you say things like that, you give excuse and forgiveness to white supremacy without any atonement or repercussion. And so what happens is you have so many Black opera singers willing and trying to do any and everything they can to stay in with the agency, rather than, again, being who they are and being truthful about their experiences or what have you. But again, like I said, the system knows who to pick. Like I said, they picked me because, again, I wasn't really learned about history. But then once I got learned about history and began being more vocal about Black American issues, that's where the system said, oh, we're going to just, we're going to not use you anymore. The calls stopped calling or what have you. I wasn't getting any gigs because they knew, oh, he's one of those problem Black people.
So, there was an interview that I read about
Yeah,
Shaka Khan,
yeah,
and she was being asked about soul music and jazz music,
yeah.
and and I'm basically paraphrasing what she was saying. She said something like, soul music is innate to her. It just comes naturally. She opens her mouth. She doesn't need to sing. She doesn't need to think it. It just flows out of her being. But she
Mhm.
said jazz is not like that with her. Jazz is more cerebral, that she has to actually think
Oh,
of
yeah.
this chords that she's trying to sing through, and what notes she wants to hit, the how she wants to run and do her meanders and stuff
Right.
like that. So
I,
is
uh-huh.
opera like that for you?
No.
Okay.
Opera, well, singing, period. Once you understand the logistics of the voice or what have you, singing is 90% cerebral anyway,
Okay.
and 10% physical. In the beginning, when you're learning how to sing, yes, it is very physical. Now, again, for me, you're always thinking, and your thought has to be ahead of what you do physically. So, in other
Okay.
words, I have to already know what it is I'm getting ready to do. But like I
Okay.
said, because it's opera, I had to learn the culture. I had to learn the history of it. And again, like I tell people, when it comes to Black American music, we need to start doing that and
Okay.
studying culture and studying the history. Because again, yes, everything is about thought. But as far as Shaka is concerned, soul is in her, right? For me, gospel was in me because that's what I was raised on. That's what I heard all the time. It was organic. It
Same
was in my
here.
system. But jazz, right? But jazz, understand, jazz is a whole different kind of a musical monster because you're dealing with so many different variations of basic chords, especially when you're adding nines, adding sevens. These are particular intervals of chords or intervals of actual notes that you have to remember. So you're thinking more, in my opinion, but you're
Okay.
still allowing once you get used to it or what have you, again, it then becomes more organic. But I understand what she says. But for
Okay.
me, I'm always thinking when I'm singing. I'm
So for
always,
you, would you say that you are in right now you are drenched in the operatic culture of music?
I would not say that I'm drenched in it, but I would say that because of all of the training that I have had, my voice has now become more attuned to it or astute in regards to understanding the culture and the methodology in regard to how to present this
Okay.
world of opera or what have you, because it's about really being calm.
Mm-hmm.
able to tell that story and keep everyone excited as they're listening to you. Whereas in Black musical culture, and this is all around the diaspora as well, we're very vocal and active and
Yeah,
very
very
animated with who we are.
dynamic and animated and
That's what happens when you're coming from a
extroverted and just doing
right.
extra, a little too much
We
extra sometimes.
we do too much extra, but again, that's explainable as well too. When you're dealing with oppressed people through the transatlantic slave trade, when you're constantly oppressed, no, you can't be loud. No, you can't emote. No, you can't cry. No, 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 no. And then all of a sudden we got free. Rah! You see what I'm saying? So that's what you're dealing with. That's Blackness in all of the diaspora. Mind you, even though they were different parts of the country, different parts of the diaspora where slavery ended much earlier than it ended in America, even though Brazil was the last country to actually end the transatlantic slave trade.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
No, yeah, I'm not.
So the Black Negro spirituals, which is supposedly the outlet of expression that the slaves were using.
Not supposedly, it was.
Okay. See, I was trying to be politically correct. Okay.
That was
So
a communication that they used.
that was the communication they used.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
somehow directly involved in classical music, operatic music.
Let me tell you something.
So how is it being embraced or is it not being embraced? And is the culture that's attached to it being embraced, or that culture is being removed and just the musical style being taken?
Correct. The culture is not being embraced. The individual specific culture of Black America is not being embraced. Right now, we are being replaced by all different other Black people from all over the world that are coming into America, bringing their other cultures from those countries. And that's nice. But again, we're still in America. This is America. I would never go to another country and demand people to see the way things I should see them from my country's perspective that I left. You see what I'm saying? And so what's happening is that you have a lot of people that are leaving their countries, coming to America, latching on to Black American culture and lineage as their own. And they're doing it basically, again, from a more white perspective of understanding.
Okay.
You know, because again, they're not connected to any part of the diaspora. And that's the problem now that I'm having in modern day times, is that you want to appreciate the music, but we don't want to understand the culture and the history as to why the music is so damn good and why it seems like it's so expressive and so emotional. Why is that? Nobody wants to touch on that or what have you. And again, like I tell people, America is still going through this institution of slavery in present day in 2021.
Yep.
The problem today is, unfortunately, we have Black folks from other parts of the world and in our own country who are basically siding with white supremacy. And that's a problem, right? And many modern day immigrants who come to America come from class-based countries where everyone in that country looks like them, with more tribal than anything else. Whereas in America, we got to understand, America was built off of racism and is still built and being built off of racism, not like the rest of the countries in the diaspora of the transatlantic slave trade. Again, they've had class-based rule for 3 or 4 generations or what have you. You're looking at 60 to 80 years of class-based rule. And so when you have that long span of time where you have been so disassociated with the slave trade, all of a sudden you think every country is that way. And again, I don't blame the people, I'm blaming the system that allows this stuff to happen. The educational system that does not teach the cultural history, but just want to appreciate it, exploit it, and make money off of it. And unfortunately, again, the people that are in the business, Black folks that are in the business, they too exploit their own to make money or what have you. That's just the way capitalism is. You know, and that's one of the main reasons why I got out of the business, because I was like, I don't really want to go through this whole thing constantly exploiting people to make money for myself, where the people that I'm exploiting aren't making any wealth progress at all, but I'm exploiting their culture. But that's to get back on your last point, whereas again, they love the music, but they don't love the culture. In other words, that's what I tell people, everybody wants the rhythm in R&B, but don't nobody want the blues. And in order for you to get to the rhythm part of it, the cultural rhythmic part of Black American culture, you got to get with the blues. You got to get ugly. You got to get uncomfortable. I'm tired of people going around saying, oh, we have to have a safe and comfortable place to talk about racism. Why? Black Americans ain't never been in a safe place. Why we got to be in a safe place now to explain racism to white people who, again, benefited from that system of systemic racism? But again, it's like that. It's like we get singers or what have it that come to my school, ain't never sung an R&B song in their life. They just love listening to it. Oh, they love the energy, and they come in. I go to sing R&B, and I'm not lying. That's how they speak. First of all, you can't sing R&B with a foreign vernacular. You got to understand the colloquialisms of Black American language, and before you do that, you got to know English. You know, and like I say, a lot of people, unfortunately, they just want to sing the music because, oh, you all just sing so happy when y'all singing. I want to feel that. I said, baby, before you feel that joy, you got to feel the pain that I went through to get to that joy. And most people don't come from that same oppressive, ongoing, systemic, racist crap that Black Americans had and still go through today. So yeah, it's more about what you said, appreciating the music, but not the culture.
So, would you say in your, I guess, not saying genre or industry of your
Say
music?
whatever you want to
Okay, your in the operatic field of music, is there a need for a revolution?
Ooh, there's always a need for a revolution, but unfortunately, the revolutions are always never televised. They need to be televised. I would say, as far as a revolution, then understand this as well. During the latter years of the golden age of opera into the 1980s, almost every single Black female opera singer that was a star was a Black American. And was a descendant of the ongoing system of slavery. So, like I tell people, when we entertain them so well, they love us. But when we begin to let them know we actually have a brain and a mind, and we think about things going on politically, and even though my success is great, it does not mean anything for the communal of my people, that's when the problems happen.
Okay. So, as a Black man in
Yeah.
America
Mm-hmm.
and witnessing what has been transpiring lately,
Yeah.
um, would you say there is a level of ignorance in the Black youth? And if there is it what should be done to address that ignorance?
Again, you have to understand that in America, the educational system is based off of two states, Texas and California, mainly Texas textbooks, right? And so the problem is that the history of America has not been taught properly. They've been teaching people that slaves were happy. We just happy Negroes. We just working in the fields, having a good old time. That's what's being taught. And so the young people are ignorant because they're not being taught the right history. Why are they not being taught? Because of shame. For some strange reason, Black Americans are ashamed of their history. How can we be ashamed of a history that we did not dictate? But yet, for some strange reason, we are. And so what we're doing now, we're again trying to find all types of success stories for symbolic representation for our young Black American kids. And unfortunately, too many of the representations are not of the lineage of those Black Americans or what have you. You see what I'm saying? So there has to be education reform in regard to teaching American history. That's the biggest thing. You got to teach. Fred Hampton said it perfectly. Political education, just social skills, civics education, or what have you, historical education. No more whitewashing of history to make white people feel good about their feelings. I don't give a damn about your feelings. I'm done with your feelings. You see what I'm saying? That's
Mhm.
why shit can't get done in our country because too many people all wrapped up in their feelings. Oh, I'm so hurt. Oh, you call me a name. Oh my God. Oh, what am I going to do? I can't be myself. Ain't nobody telling you not to be yourself. But the problem is we've given this idea that education is all about coddling people and coddling their feelings rather than really discussing what's going on or what have you. We've got to the point now where we have people that just have no purpose in life. And when you have no purpose in life except to make money, of course, what are you going to do? Forget about what happened that made your lineage of people not get the wealth that they deserve it or what have you. So a lot of it is education, minister. It's a lot of it is just false education. I had a meeting today with my colleagues at my university where I teach. And again, I had a young lady from Brazil, teacher from Brazil, who said she had no idea about how bad it was and how bad Black Americans were treated. All she saw was Black folks singing and dancing, having a good old time. And it wasn't until she came to America and she was like, oh my God, now I really understand what the problem is. And she's from Brazil. But again, she's a white Brazilian.
Mhm.
Okay, it's a difference. And what's happening is that you have a lot of people who are people of color who are basically saying they're white on the census. And they're bringing those same class-based light-skinned issues as well to America. Heck, people from India are bringing their caste system politics over here as well. I'll give you another.
Oh, you're
Oh,
trying
I'm
to fast pedal me into my topic. Calm down, calm down, calm
let
down.
me give you a that. I went to a new nephrologist, a kidney doctor, a new nephrologist, and this particular nephrologist was either from India, Pakistan, wherever, and he came out of his mouth and said, I believe America has too many freedoms. And I think the average IQ of Americans should be 40. That's caste system talk.
Mhm.
That's Brahmin caste talking about the untouchables or what have you.
Mhm.
Because when you have an average IQ of 40, you're going to be surrounded by a bunch of dummies. And
Yep.
what's interesting to me about for him to even say that America has too many freedoms, but yet you're here making money and getting benefits off of the land that you have no lineage, blood, sweat, and toil in. But here you are now out of your country in another country that's giving you opportunity as a doctor. And you wish to talk crap about the country giving you opportunity.
Okay.
It's not,
So
it's not all immigrants, thank goodness, but it's just
yeah,
too many.
that's true.
Too
So,
many.
um, as a professor of, are you a professor of music or voice?
Music, voice, I can teach theory, sites training, but mainly vocal stuff, voice.
Okay. So, in your in defining your curriculum or creating your curriculum,
Mm-hmm.
um, does the school give you a parameter that you need to stay within, or are you totally at will to go whatever trajectory or direction you want to go?
Well, you normally universities have a set idea, a curriculum of what they want. Now, what is happening with many universities across the country is that they're giving, in my opinion, too much free reign for the professors to be able to make up their curriculum. I'm not a big fan of that. I believe in order, I believe in structure. And then when you come into that structure, you work within that structure and then
Okay.
expound on that. That's me. But
Okay.
again, what's happening now is that for me, fortunately, as far as my classes are concerned, they're already set syllabi and set curriculum. Now,
Okay.
when it comes to individual voice lessons, of course, you have to take everyone individually or what have you
Individually. Yep.
at their level and then set the curriculum up that way. But the main curriculum for singing, I'm gonna be real, is to learn how to breathe.
Okay.
That's it. If you learn how to breathe, you can
So it's
learn how to
not
sing
like so it's not like
yourself.
the Oscar awards where okay, you're supposed to come give an acceptance speech and then you come there and like oh and now get all political.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is the Oscars are very political anyway. I mean, that's the Oscars, the Grammys, all that stuff is bought and paid for stuff. It's not really based upon talent. It's more based upon brand name and how many record sales you have.
Okay.
Now, back in the day, many of our musical groups actually had talent. The
Mm-hmm.
problem today is with a lot of the modern music, it's all auto-tuned. It's all about pretty faces. They can't sing, they can't dance, they can't act, they have no charisma, they have no personality, they have nothing. So everything is based upon wiggling, jiggling, booty shaking. Ooh,
You know, you know too
and
much.
so therefore, again, no purpose. No purpose in the music. So truly, definitely today, people, in my opinion, who win awards, there's always somebody greasing someone's palm because there are
Uh-huh.
just too many awful acts out here winning awards based upon music. Oh my God. Did you see Jennifer Lopez and Lady Gaga at the inauguration or what have you? So lackluster. It was so lackluster. Even Gaga, lackluster. You coming up there and look like a damn balloon parachute, Miss Gaga. No, baby, it ain't
But
about you.
isn't that her image? Isn't that how, at least she's no longer wearing meat and cabbages and
Right.
what?
Well, see, she's one of those artists who, again, strives and looks for attention, even though she doesn't need to. She's another insecure artist. Strange. I remember when I saw her HBO special, and she was saying, "Ah, I don't understand." No, excuse me. She said, "I know I'm in this business. I'm here to make money. I'm here to create dance music." This is Lady Gaga. "I'm here to create dance music." Da, 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 da. But then a half an hour later, she's complaining about how she doesn't think she's really reaching her audience. Here she's getting ready to sing for tens of thousands of people, and she does not realize what power she has as an artist and as an individual or what have you. She doesn't think that she's really reaching anybody. But again, in the beginning, she realized, I'm coming into the business to make money.
Mm-hmm.
If you're coming into the business to make money, you ain't gonna have those hangups about who am I reaching. So she's dealing with some drama going on in her brain. Someone
Some
is
inner
telling her
conflict.
to do, huh?
Some inner conflict.
In a conflict. And trust me, many of these big time singers go through that conflict because many of them know they're mediocre.
But isn't
And
that
know,
like a growth process where initially you come in and oh, it's all about making money, but after a while you now find your voice and you find your identity, and then you come to a sense of self like, wait, I need to make an impact and an influence and not just make money. Isn't that like a growth
right.
process
Well,
everybody goes through?
that is what you would think a good person would do, but that's not the American way. America is always about making money, no
Okay.
matter how you make it.
Okay.
Okay? America is a cutthroat country. Many people come to America as immigrants to sharpen their knives, not to join this America unified front. It's all bullcrap. America is built on, again, stomping on anybody you can to get to wherever you have to get to.
Okay.
I was listening to a comedian, DC Curry, and he said, "Look, man, I know plenty of people got plenty of money and will still do anything and everything they can to make more money. It's all about money, money, money. It's not about stability at all. It's about how much money can I have? Money, money, money." And there are many people who will go on television and will act like a monkey and will take $3 or $4 million. Ask Steve Harvey.
Wow. Look at time flying. I can't believe how much time is flying.
Oh, are we done? Are we done
No,
already?
almost. God, I have
Oh,
one
okay.
question. I have one question for you.
You can
And
ask them. We go to
I
two
really,
thirty.
I really wish I could have to ask a little more, but you know how people's attention span is.
No, you
so,
look. You can go to two
so,
thirty. I'm fine.
so you actually started a new business venture this whole
Yes,
corona period. This
yes. Can you believe that?
I know, I saw it. I was like, wow, he started a new business venture.
Well,
So
but with my money though, no bank will lend me anything.
I
I've
understand.
tried. I got good credit, but nope, this system don't want to give me nothing. I'm doing everything my own money.
Okay, so you started this business venture. My question to you is, you chose to start this venture in a predominantly Black neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Undeserved. Mm-hmm.
and
Undeserved. Excuse me.
there are people who have this mindset of, oh, invest in Black-owned businesses, don't invest in Black-owned businesses, and that whole, oh, you invest in Black-owned businesses, they don't give you service, or I'm supporting a Black, but they don't give me service, so my hard-earned money, do I invest? Do I get the value of my money, or do I become pro-social just to pour out my money? Where do you stand in that viewpoint?
A proponent of buy Black just because.
I'm sorry?
I am not a proponent of buying Black just because.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? I will support, again, this is a capitalistic society. Anybody that's in business is in business for themselves to create capital for themselves, period. That's just how the system works. I am the kind of person where if you find a Black business that gives you great service, or any business that gives you great service, you stick with that business. I've had many Black businesses say to me, well, I really only want to corner this market in the white neighborhood. Although I'm the owner as a Black man, I really don't want to deal with Black folks' money. I only want to deal with white folks' money. And because again, we got to also understand that Black America has been made a contagion to wealth in this country through the system, not of any fault of our own communally. And so therefore, when you do have people like myself who are able to start businesses, the one thing I always tell people, I don't get caught up in this idea that I have a business, I'm a da-da-da-da-da-da. I know that I'm the owner proprietor. I know I'm the only employee. I know I'm the only one basically funding all of this. Ain't nobody giving me no help. And that's many Black businesses. And that's why, unfortunately, many of them fail because we don't have the access or the wealth to keep them going like many white businesses do. If you look at this, there was a review done of wealth and during the pandemic. White wealth grew about $100 billion.
It did. Yes, it did.
But yet every time I turn around, well, we don't have any money. But see, what's happening is that white folks are now feeling the pinch because their very own people are now calcifying their wealth at the top 10%. So now about 90% of white folks, most of whom come from a lineage that did not want to give Black folks any government help, are now complaining to themselves about, I can't get any help from my government and my country that I love. Well, when you spent most of your life telling the government that they shouldn't give this and they shouldn't give that, you don't think the government's going to tell you, well, why should you need it then? Why should you have this help? You don't want your other Americans to have it, so why should you have it? And it's an ugly, ugly game of now this country built off of racism is now turning into a country of class without dealing with this racial problem. And that's what you have today. You know, we got people going around saying, oh, we got to return to normal. Return to normal was covert racism. That's all normal was. Trump, I'm gonna be honest with you. Trump is not a great person. He's not a good person. He wasn't a good president. But I like the fact that I knew what the hell he was coming from. I knew exactly what he was thinking. I know how he feels about people, and I'm good with that. I can't deal with this, oh, we're all Americans, and we all must come together. We never come together as a country, except after 9/11. Remember that? After 9/11, all the white folks are going around and Black people, oh, we're in trouble. Oh, we gotta come together. Oh, now they gotta come together? Because my Muslim brothers are, unfortunately have been brainwashed into unfortunately doing this unfortunate act. Now I gotta be your friend, white people. And like I tell you all the time, I hate to say it, it's most in white America. Racism is a white folks problem.
Okay.
Period. But as far as my business is concerned, I am not in denial of the fact that I'm funding everything on my own. Some people will tell you, well, I have a business and it's doing well. No. They're not telling you everything.
Of course, that's not true.
Right.
New business challenges to face.
And because I live in an underdeserved community, I know it was going to be harder for me to get my business on board. You see what I'm saying? I'm not in denial. But see, the thing about this, and then you got a lot of Black folk who are pro-Black will tell me, well, you should go after the white dollar. Go after the white dollar. I'm going after anybody that wants flowers.
Okay. And you put information about your business in the description of this video?
Now, I don't know how to do that.
Don't
But I
worry,
can
we'll talk about it.
yeah, I can give you the website address, the
We'll
web
talk
address
about it.
on Facebook, and you can feel free to add that on.
Okay.
But I don't have any way of. I can share the website, and
We'll do we'll do all that.
we can do that later. That's
The
not a big deal.
last question for you.
Mm-hmm.
For a young African American man, woman, minority man, woman who
Right.
somehow wants to has an affinity for opera music, or even wants to learn more about voice lessons and all, what would you say?
Oh God, it's easy. Research, study, try to find you a damn good teacher. If you do look at videos or what have you, excuse me, I'm going to be very honest. Many videos out here are garbage.
Okay.
They're garbage. And so you got to be careful listening to these YouTube videos of people telling you, oh, just sing and don't think about nothing. No, you got to think about stuff. Research, ask questions or what have you. Find out what they've done. You know, you don't want to get a teacher that's fresh out of school.
You teach virtually, correct?
I teach virtually now.
So that means anybody worldwide can be your student.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Anybody worldwide can be my student. And the thing about it is, I can teach you virtually. The thing about it is, unfortunately for many people, humans especially, humans have gotten to the point where we have been engineered to need each other more than what we naturally need each other on in regard. Does that make sense? Because you want that human contact, you want to hug, you want to
handshake, sociable.
You want to be social, but guess what? This ain't time to be social. I'm discovering with so many people, Minister. I'm discovering that so many people don't like who they are.
Because now you're forced to face yourself.
You're forced to face yourself. You are forced to face every decision that you have made in life to get to where you are today during this pandemic. And most people can't stand who they are.
Ooh, you just dropped a nugget right there. Bloop.
They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you that because, again, we're in this whole thing of again, masking our realness. See what I'm saying? They're not going to tell you how bad it is. They're going to just keep on believing, I'm good. I'm like, no. I always tell people, be honest. Even if it hurts, even if it makes you look bad, even if it makes you look as if you don't have that much money, that's okay. Be honest, because a lot of folks don't have as much money as they say they do.
Authenticity.
Be real and professional, but professional.
Yes.
You ain't got to be all crazy and clownish.
That's true.
I would
you
like
got to be all ratchet.
Yeah, you got to be ratchet. But this is the thing, though. Wait, do you remember that story of that black restaurateur in Houston who put on some twerking music?
Oh yeah.
Now see,
and then folks started twerking to the music in the restaurant, and then he got mad.
In the restaurant, he got mad. I'm thinking to myself, sir, you're supposed to be a 5-star restaurant.
Why are you playing twerking
music in your 5-star restaurant? And then you're going to get mad. Now, mind you, they had no business getting up on the tables. But this is the thing. You set the atmosphere, sir. You set it. And then all of a sudden now, there are my tables. Oh, and then he gets mad with them. See, that's a bougie black boule Negro. They got a little bit of money. Got a couple of restaurants. He's in the top 20. He's in the top 10% probably of black wealth. So as far as he's concerned, I'm better than all you black people. But yet you're trying to appease to your black crowd because you know what kind of music we like.
Exactly.
This is the thing. Humans follow how they are engineered. And if I'm playing, I'm gonna be in a restaurant. Hey, what up? You know, but if I'm in a restaurant where they're playing, I'm gonna be like this in the restaurant. But if you're playing twerking music, on the floor, I'm gonna drop it like it's hot.
Okay.
But
Well,
again,
thank you very much, sir, for this conversation that we had.
you're welcome.
Time
I
just went up
appreciate it.
so fast.
That's a good thing. That means we're having a good conversation.
Yes, 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 yes.
I can go.
And that was my conversation with Duane Moody. I guess I didn't ask him, is he Professor Duane Moody? After all, he is a lecturer, lecturing voice. But that was an interesting conversation. And I guess because we human beings are political, there is really no conversation that you can have with someone being authentic without it having some political piece or political aspect of it, because that's who we are. We are political in nature. Anyhow, please click like on the video, make your comments, suggestions, ask your questions, and share with your network, share with your friends, family, and support. Hey, support is always appreciated. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Chat Fest with Kenneth.